pass on to our next speaker now, who is Jacqui Besgrove, who's the CEO of Pocket City Farms. Take it away, Jacqui.
Oh, look, thanks so much for having me here today. I will also try and keep to time. Really excited to talk to you about the project that I'm currently working on, Pocket City Farms. And just before we start, I want to acknowledge that Pocket City Farms is on Gadigal land and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. The land is, was and always will be Aboriginal land. Pocket City Farms is the brainchild of our founders, Emma and Zag, and they were really looking for a space in Sydney to showcase urban agriculture. They wanted to reconnect people with how their food was grown and really create somewhere that was focused on community engagement and on education. Really interesting thinking about community land use and how they went about the journey. It took them a long time to find the land. And I think the key for them was a story of persistence and a story of just continually saying, who owns that piece of land? Who owns that piece of land? So yeah, really working tirelessly, I would say, to acquire that piece of land. The current team is very different, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we go on. But currently, that's me in the middle, Jacqui. I'm the CEO, and I consider myself the carrot enabling officer. I'm not out there on the market garden, but I get to do all the boring stuff. That means that wonderful people like Chris on the left can live out their dream of becoming farmers, urban farmers in the city. And Sam, my colleague on the right, is our education manager, and he's responsible for bringing in lots of school children on excursions, which I'll talk a little bit more about. Love the maps in the last presentation. I've got some too. So for anyone that doesn't know Sydney that well, you can sort of see, can you see my cursor? You can see Sydney Harbour up here. We're quite close to the CBD. You know, we've got the CBD right over here, and this red dot is Pocket City Farms. For this to make a little bit more sense, we're this tiny little pocket of green down here. And Emma and Zag, when they were on that journey trying to find land, just assumed that they would end up on a rooftop somewhere. They were really inspired by rooftop farming projects because they thought, how are we ever going to find some ground level land in Sydney, you know, where land is at such a premium? But they were thrilled to find this lovely abandoned bowls club, the Camperdown Bowls Club. And it had been abandoned for about 2 years when they came across it. The bowls club was sort of dwindling in membership. Some of the bowls clubs have done really well in the inner west of Sydney. They've encouraged young people to do barefoot bowling and things like that. I think there was just too many concentrated in a small space. So Camperdown wasn't doing so well. But it was really interesting because it was Crown land. So it was land that had to stay with some community accessibility around it. And they partnered with the very unlikely bedfellows of the Canterbury Helston Park RSL Club. And the RSL put up the money to redevelop the site. They originally, Emma and Zag wanted 4 bowling greens. They only got 2. The other 2 were turned into a lawn with an outdoor pizza kitchen and a deck space, a large restaurant on site, and then a function space and a conference room area for weddings and events and things like that. So the farm's about half the size they wanted it to be, but all of this other amenity was kind of put there at the same time, which was really helpful. And that's the overhead view. So you can see green 1 turn into a lawn, bowling green 2 is a covered deck and a courtyard and a conference room. And then we're left with these 2 bowling greens here, which is about 1,800 metres squared in total. There's also, I don't know if it's easy to see here, but right out here is beyond our fence is our verge, and that was 180 metres squared of oleander. And that was removed and turned into a community food forest. So that's been a really beautiful part of what we do. I'm going to talk about the 3 pillars that Pocket City Farms is based on. That's fair food and education and community. And so first of all, fair food. You know, Emma and Zag wanted to showcase food, how it's grown, and do it organically, make sure that people were reconnected with how it's grown seasonally, really passionate about miles and how far has your food travelled to get to you. In this instance, we're really thrilled to have the restaurant on site because we can take from food miles right down to sort of food meters in terms of getting some of that food onto plates. We're really passionate about food that's good for the farmers. So, you know, being right in the middle of a city, paying farmers a fair award wage is really crucial to us so they can afford to live in the city. It's also food that's really good for the people who eat it. So it is seasonal. It's grown according to organic certification, but we're not certified. It's very expensive to be certified organic, and we also really strongly believe that the people dousing our food in chemicals should be the ones who are certified, not us. And we're a very visible site, so people can come and check out what we're doing and at any point, and they can also volunteer to become involved and see how we do what we do. We grow 99% of the food on our farm from a seed that either goes into a greenhouse that we've got on site or directly into the ground. Very occasionally would buy seedlings in, but mostly we're showcasing that whole life cycle of plants. And then we're also really passionate about food that's accessible to the local community. I've got some slides coming up later on, but we want to make sure that this isn't just, food that's inaccessible and that isn't available to the local community. So we sell online. People can go online and order little veggie bags from us. We also have an honesty store where any surplus produce that's produced on the farm goes out, and it's pay what you can afford. People can take it for free, or people pay a small donation through a really awesome app called My Honesty Box. We sell a little bit to restaurants and cafes and caterers. And then we've recently become involved in an organic buyers group, which is a scheme started in Randwick in Sydney. And it's just fantastic. For $45, people get a box of organic veg. The community bands together. They turn up, they pack it, and we sell some Pocket City Farms produce into that, and the rest is bought from a wholesaler. So they're getting about $80 worth of organic value for $45, which is, bringing it on par with the prices people are paying in supermarkets or less. Another thing we're really passionate about is education. And as I said at the start, Emma and Zag really wanted to showcase, how food's grown and reconnect kids with how food's grown. For a lot of kids, when we're talking about regenerative agriculture, it's something that's really far away and it's hard for them to go and see. So we love really bringing that right back to what can we do on site. And we hope that every student who comes through our school excursion programs leaves with an increase in eco-literacy, understanding the importance of growing seasonally, growing locally what we can, understanding that soil needs to be covered and that we, really can regenerate our soils with our farming practices. Also, we've been on a bit of a journey the last few years to wrap the farm in biodiversity. So it's not just a market garden, it's also about that beautiful biodiversity of insects. So we love opening little minds to the importance of all sorts of different pollinators and how they can take that back and do that in their schools. And we do run an incursion program where we'll go into schools as well. We also don't just educate little people, we educate a lot of adults. So we also run a team retreats program. We've got corporate teams, we saw on the map, we're 5Ks from the city. So instead of going to paintball or doing these sort of team bonding experiences, all these corporates now have ESG goals, and they're coming to us, paying us to volunteer, doing a farm tour and a hands-on workshop. And there's just a couple of images. There's our honesty stall that's out the front, our community food forest, and different people volunteering on the farm. We offer community volunteering sessions Thursday mornings, Saturday mornings, and we do a Thursday evening session where we also have a community meal and get the community together. And then lastly, I'll finish off saying at the moment, we're really looking at how we put the S in Pocket City Farms. We don't want to just be this one little pocket of farming. We want to work out how we can spread what we're doing everywhere. And I've come from a background with permablitz, so I'm really passionate about toolkitting stuff up, getting it all written down. So we're looking for our next site as a pilot to put together or finish an urban farm toolkit that we've been working on, and look at, right, how can we get a template that can then be rolled out Australia-wide, obviously with different contexts depending on the circumstance. But I really don't want to see anyone write a safe operating procedure for a broad fork ever again. They can have ours and get on with it. And then finally, we're also looking at how we train new farmers. So we run an urban farm incubator program where we 2 farmers a year through a training program. And we're looking at the moment, how do we expand that? If we want to see thousands of farms everywhere, we need thousands of farmers trained up as well. So looking at really building that in as a core part of our model is, training future farmers and making it a viable career in the city space. Really so great to hear from Anita and Helen how you've been able to scale and go big. So I'd definitely love to connect with you and talk about that. We would love to have lots and lots of acres and start joining all those little pockets up. And I'll probably run out of time, but why soil-based farming? We're really passionate about soil-based farming. We don't want to give up and just be in urban farming in underground car parks. We think urban farming will, probably have a bit of indoor as part of our future required, but we want to make sure people don't give up on soil. and learn about it.